For most of us, life feels like a forced march down a one-way street we call linear time. We move strictly from past to future. Waiting at the very end of that road is a sheer drop into nothingness. We call that death. That terror relies on a highly specific, rigid set of assumptions. To fear the fall, you have to believe you only get one physical body, a single isolated identity, and exactly one timeline to get things right. But human consciousness actually engineered this viewpoint as a survival mechanism. Early in our biological development, we needed to react instantly to physical threats, like a predator in the brush. To survive, the human mind adopted a deep psychological specialization. It put on blinders, filtering out a massive spectrum of broader realities so it could focus entirely on the immediate physical present. Over thousands of years, this intense concentration became our default setting. It acts as a kind of camouflage. Our ego gets so locked into managing this singular physical environment that it convinces itself the physical world is the only thing that exists. In this context, life is a state of highly restricted artificial concentration. Death represents the point where these specialized blinders finally come off. To see how this camouflage works, we have to scale all the way down past the organs and the tissue. At the foundation of our biology are consciousness units, or CUs, the basic units of awareness that form the substrate of matter. This animation shows how these units operate. At the cellular level, the biological material does not recognize an end. When a cell reaches the limit of its current form, it breaks apart, but the fundamental units of consciousness within it immediately reorganize. To a cell, what we call death is simply a change of frequency. This creates a disconnect between our parts and our manager. Inside you right now, millions of cells are cooperating in a constant cycle of transformation to keep your body functioning. But the conscious ego ignores this continuity. It draws a rigid boundary around one temporary shape, your current physical identity, and experiences terror because it cannot see the units that remain after the shape changes. Because the building blocks of your body operate outside the limits of physical decay, the fear of death is a byproduct of the ego's narrow focus. It is simply the result of looking at the frame, rather than the atoms that make it up. To understand where those units go, we have to look at time differently. Instead of a one-way street, think of simultaneous time, a framework where the past, present, and future occur at once, like a single massive chord of music. We can visualize this using the multi-person theory. Imagine a central node, like a flower bulb, representing your core consciousness. This bulb doesn't just grow a single stem, it branches outward in every direction at once. Consciousness units are inherently unpredictable. They explore every possible direction of growth to fulfill their potential. This means the unchosen paths, the career you turned down, or the accident you narrowly avoided, continue to play out. They are maintained by your larger identity in parallel realities that exist just outside your current field of vision. The life you are living right now is the specific intersection of probabilities you chose to focus on. You zoom in on this one sequence of events, pushing the rest of the multidimensional map out of frame to create the illusion of a singular, linear story. This identity is one petal that has lost its awareness of the bulb. The ego is trapped by its own concentration, believing its specific timeline is the only one that carries meaning. What happens to this localized focus point when the physical body can no longer sustain it? Returning to our map, the transition of death is the moment this narrow concentration rapidly pulls back. The focus shifts away from the single branch, returning to the entire, massive network of parallel selves operating all along. Individuality remains intact, but the boundaries of the self expand. You gain access to the memories, to the abilities, and the alternate experiences that the camouflage of physical life kept hidden. We can begin broadening our definition of the self right now. By recognizing that linear time is a functional mask, we can start to sense the larger identity that exists behind it. Physical life is a temporary experiment in extreme focus. Death is the process of the personality shifting its focus back to the larger reality it never truly left.